Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I've got a cup of tea this morning. I've got the love mug. We've got to keep the love going. Sometimes it feels like there's so many, depressing things going on in the world, isn't it? Oh, let me just turn the sound down on my other computer. I'm in stereo here. There you go. Yeah, seems like there's so many depressing things going on in the world, but there is a lot of love as well, isn't there? There's lots of love going on in the world as well, so we have to remember that. For every twonk, there's lots more nice people, So, okay, so yeah, I've got the love mug. Now, I feel like doing a bit of a JLR this morning and saying, come on in, come on in. That's what he says, isn't it? Because it's cold and wet and miserable and damp even here in Spain today. It is really chilly. So it's going to be one of those days I'm not going out day, not going out. It's too cold, wet, miserable, windy. The wind is the worst thing for me. I hate it when it's windy. And so it's quite nice in a way because you don't get many days like that in Spain. And they do make you want to be sort of cozy in the house, and I get things done in the house. So my plans for today is I'm going to spend some time with you guys this morning. I'm going to spend some time with you guys tonight. I'm going to do a late live tonight because it's Saturday night. And that way, people, because, I've people watching who are all over the world. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So if I do a sort of a later live, that normally sort of catches people who are, might be their evening, it might be their morning, but it means it gives a chance for more people to watch the live. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. And I think it'll be like a chit chat live. I'm going to talk about all different things, whatever comes up that I think might be interesting. I've got quite a few things to talk about. Obviously, lately it's all been about Samantha because of, Patrick being charged with murder, this young boy, this 22-year-old boy. That still can't get over his age. People said to me, well, he's a man. Well, yeah, I know he's a man, but he's still a boy to me. It's sort of, so there's various things coming out now, isn't there, about it? So anyway, I'm starting to waffle, as you can see. So I've still got my candle lit because we're waiting for Samantha to be brought home. It's not. He's been charged with murder, so the police are convinced that Samantha is no longer alive. But she needs to be found. Her body needs to be found, and she needs to be brought back to her family. And this boy, man, whatever he is, he needs to tell where her body is, and his family needs to put the pressure on him to tell where her body is, because they should think about how would they feel if it was him. If it was him who was missing, thought murdered, and they couldn't bring his body home. So that family, as much as I feel for them, and I do feel for them, because it'd be horrible to find out that your son had done something like this or had been charged with doing something like this, because we have to remember that it's still, he's still innocent till proven guilty. But, if that, my plea would be to their family, to his family. Please put pressure on him. He must bring Samantha home to her family. Imagine how it would be if it was your son. You would be pleading for whoever had hidden his body to tell you where it is. So, this is, there's no two ways about it. This is 100%. This boy, this man has got to tell where Samantha is. If he wants any redemption, either in this world or the next. Can't change what he's done, but he can do something positive. Okay, so let me see. I think my tea might be still hot. Still a little bit hot, but anyway. So I'm going to say hello to all now, and then we're going to have a little look at some information about Patrick, about this man that's been charged with a murder. And we're going to look at quite a few different videos, etc. We're going to look at what's been described as a link between Samantha and him, but personally, I think it's a very tenuous link. I don't know if it's significant, well, it's too early to say, but I think in any town, if something happens to someone here in my village, you could always find a link. Oh, well, they, spoke once at the supermarket, or, oh, yeah, they had an argument once about a parking space, or, their dogs, they saw each other when they were walking their dogs. Do you not find that in communities you can quite often find a link? But I don't know if it's an important link that would mean that he would target Samantha. We still don't know how he came to do what he did to Samantha or why. So there's a few different theories emerging, a few different bits of information that are coming out, and we're going to look at that. Now, hang on a minute, I've just pressed the wrong button. Let me just, sorry, one sec. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a chat about it all, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? So be kind in your comments to everybody, especially me, please. Yeah, comment away. We've all got our different theories. We'll all have our different ideas about the things that I present, but just be kind. That's all. Okay, so let me just say hello to everyone before I get started proper. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Simon K. Yeah, another one in, it never ends, Simon, unfortunately. And once you start being interested in, I think it only takes one case to make you interested in true crime. And then you start noticing everything. And I do believe that these things they've gone on for years. But once you start noticing it, it's like, oh my God, it feels like it's just constant. But I don't think it's any more prevalent than it was. But it just feels, once you start noticing and taking an interest, it does feel like it's just constant. But if you think of the size of a country like Australia, I mean, even a little country like the UK, there are lots of incidents, aren't they? And the more you look into it, the more you think, oh my God, it never stops. Hi, Kelly. Hi, David. Hi, Ocean. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Charlie. Yes, of course, you're in Spain. Yeah, it's a bit of a miserable day today in Spain. Hi, Simon. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Oh, you've got a cousin called Vicky Marie. All the best people are called Vicky Marie. Hi, Karen. Yes, the motive is a challenge, isn't it? The motive. But we'll talk about that. Hi, Mia. Hi, Chumba. Good morning. Hi, Michelle J from New Zealand. Hi, Colleen. Yeah, I quite like a bit of raining and cold, Charlie. Do you know, the thing is, because where I live in Spain, we have 300 days of sunshine a year. 300 days. And that's lovely. But, sometimes it's for that reason, it's quite nice to have a bit of a grey sky, because I don't want it every day, don't get me wrong. And what it does, the trouble is, when it's sunny, you always feel like you should be out doing something. Even when you don't feel like it, because you think, oh, I think it's the British sort of thing in my head, that, oh God, the sun's out, better get out and do something. Because, of course, when I was living in Britain, if you didn't get out and do something while the sun was shining, the next day it wouldn't be shining. And that was it, you were stuck in then again. So, of course, in Spain, it's not like that, because the sun, if the sun was shining today, it'd still probably be shining tomorrow, or the next step. But because of my British mentality, I think, oh, what should I be doing? I should be going to the beach. I should be doing this. Should be doing that. And so what's quite nice when I have a day like today, where it's a bit wet and miserable, I don't feel like I should be doing anything. I don't feel that pressure of thinking, oh God, what am I going to do today? It's just nice to be cozy at home with a cup of tea and chatting with you guys. Anyway, wet and windy where Jackie is, but sunny. Hi, Julie Ashmore. You're also hi, Jennifer. How's your little birdie? Oh, Caroline's bathing her granddaughter. Well, there you go, multitasking, Caroline, while you're listening. Charlie's having a latte and a cheese and tomato sandwich. Oh, Jennifer, sorry to hear that. Jennifer lost her little dog a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know how it is. It's horrible. It hurts. Hi, Sharon. Oh, Sharon's been to the gym. Good for you, Sharon. I can't say that. Colleen, it might be significant. It may well be. Yes, Simon, as far as Maddie's concerned, nobody's been charged for Madeline Soto's murder, not even sinister Stefan. Oh, Jennifer, how awful. It sounded like it was sudden. Hot there, Caroline, is it? Yeah. So a lot of chat about the weather wherever everybody is. I do miss wet weekends, actually. I like a wet weekend, but it's only because it's sunny most of the time. Anyway, I don't think I've ever been to Wigan. Oh, I have been to Wigan once. Hi, Quizzical. Oh, Colleen, so Mick didn't go to the vigil because the daughter was there, wasn't Jess there? I think we're going to have a look at the vigil. But, he might have found it overwhelming because, you go to a vigil, everybody be talking to you, and that's quite overwhelming, isn't it? Because maybe you don't want to be talked to. Anyway. Oh, it must do, Jennifer. We'll try and take your mind off it with a bit of true crime. So now I know it's not very cheerful, but we'll try and cheer you up. Yeah, so here we are. We're at this situation where we can't imagine why a 22-year-old boy, who appears to have had, to all intents and purposes, this boy, Patrick, appears to have had like a charmed life, hasn't he? He's not come from a deprived, as far as we know. I mean, you never know what goes on behind closed doors, of course. But as far as we know, he's not had a deprived upbringing. He's not, he's not been short of love. He's like the golden child, isn't he? And I think that's always even more surprising, isn't it, when they do something terrible like this, because he's had everything laid on a plate for him all his life. And maybe he's too overprivileged, maybe sometimes that happens. But it's what I always say, you never know what a murderer looks like. And, this is why I don't accept bad backgrounds as an excuse for doing terrible things, because so many people come out of bad backgrounds and do not do terrible things. And then lots of people like Patrick, they come from good backgrounds and do terrible things. But of course, we don't know the full situation yet. Now, I would feel, but having said that, we don't know the full situation. We don't know the motive. We don't actually know how it happened or why it happened. The thing that sort of puts me off feeling any sympathy for him whatsoever is that he's not saying where she is. So he's still offending in my eyes. The offence that he committed, by allegedly murdering Samantha. I mean, the police don't allege that lightly. You know, they're not alleging that just for a bit of fun or because, you know, for them to allege that, they must be pretty much convinced, you know, for whatever reason that he did it. But in my eyes, he's continuing to offend by not saying where she is. You know, he committed that offence on, I think it was the 4th of February, was it, or something like that, on the morning. But he's still offending. He's been offending ever since, because all he's done ever since is try and cover up his tracks. So he's not showing any remorse, is he? He's not trying to help the family by, you know, saying, oh, I'm so sorry, it was a mistake, or he's not doing any of that. He's just protecting himself. He's only interested in himself. And the only reason he's not giving up Samantha's body is for his own benefit. So as long as he carries on offending like that, he won't get any sympathy from me whatsoever. You know, even if it was, you know, he just won't, even if it turns out it was self-defense and she attacked him first. What he's done in covering up the crime, hiding the body, not saying where the body is, not letting Samantha's family have her back, that to me is just continuous offending. So every day that passes that he doesn't say where her body is, in my eyes, should be another 10 years on his sentence or whatever. But anyway, that's how I feel about it all. Yeah, and we're all happy that Mick wasn't involved, because if Mick would have been involved, as I said many times, that would have been an even double tragedy for the children, because they would have lost him as well. So it is good that Mick isn't involved. It definitely is. Hi, Ali. Did I miss anyone else coming in there? I don't think so. Okay, so what we're going to start with looking at is a video of Patrick that's emerging on mainstream media, not on the Herald Sun. There's a video that's been released of Patrick partying. Now, this video is not from the night before, but his friends, it's circulating around Reddit and around the community that he was out the night before partying. You know, going from bar to bar. There's suggestions that he was snorting what does Mike H call it, the devil's dandruff. You know, so there are suggestions of that, but we haven't seen the CCTV of that. These are just sort of rumours that are going round. I don't know if the police have confirmed that he was out partying the night before. But it's possible that he was out partying all night, and that's how this ended up coming to pass. You know, because of course Samantha was out very early in the morning. He might have been on his way home. Who knows? Or was he just hanging around the woods waiting for a female jogger to go past? Maybe he's been thinking about doing it for ages. Maybe it was him who attacked Sissy the year before. You know, we don't know, basically, do we? How the circumstances are. But of course, his car now has been seized, and that will yield up, I'm sure, that will yield up some forensic details, even if it's been cleaned, you know, painstakingly. There's normally something comes out of forensics, isn't there? So anyway. Okay, so we're going to now look at this. So another video has come out that's been released by one of his friends, I presume. They've probably sold it to the Herald Sun. The Herald Sun have published it. And that's the video that we're going to look at. And this is a video of Patrick partying, but this was in January. But I think from this video, you can imagine how it might have been the night before. And you know what, we don't need to imagine. We know what it's like when young. We've all been young, much as our children might not believe that we've ever been young and we've ever done these things or got up to mischief or got drunk. Or personally, I haven't ever really taken drugs, but some people, you know, everybody has their thing. And you know, it's just what young people do. Of course they do. It's part of your rites of passage. You know, so it's not a surprise that he was. So I'm not saying that it's a surprise that he was out partying and we should read anything into it in that sense. But it just gives us an idea of maybe what was happening the night before. Maybe give us an idea of what he, you know, what his mental state was, or what had he gone out, got drunk, got taken some drugs, and then drove home. And then maybe there was an accident. The police are denying that it was a hit and run accident. But of course, it wouldn't have been a hit and run, would it? Because if he did run her over and then maybe panicked and maybe, you know, he just got into a big panic and thought, oh, God, what's this going to do to his life? And then maybe that's why he had to get rid of her. You know, we just don't know. We don't know. But the police are insisting it was not a hit and run. So we'll see. It will all come out in the wash, I suppose. It's just frustrating, you know. Obviously, we you know, the family will want answers. We want answers, but the most important thing we want, of course, is Samantha to come home. Please, please, please. You know, his family need to tell him he has got to say where she is for moral reasons. He cannot change what's happened, but he can change from today. Right, let's have a look at his video anyway. It's the dog crying. So a lot of these people that have been blocked out, they're obviously his friends, and one of his friends must have supplied this video to, you know, probably been paid for it, to be fair, and this is probably the sort of thing that was going on the night before Samantha sadly was murdered. So there he is. So you can see he looks a bit away with the fairies, doesn't he? It reminds me a bit of that video we watched of that horrible Scottish man who'd killed. I can't remember his name. It reminds me a bit of that video we watched of him when he was high on poppers or whatever. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm so glad that when I was young that we didn't have social media. I'm just so glad. Can you imagine? I mean, you know, because people live by videos these days, don't you? Young people, as soon as they're out, their phone's out, they're taking a video, taking a photo. Oh my God, I'm just so glad when I was young and I was doing these kind of things. Well, not taking drugs, but the drinking side of things and doing silly things and, you know, all the daft things you do when you're young. Not normally murder, though, having said that. He's gone that step further. But, you know, we've all done that. I don't think there's probably many people that have never, ever been in a total state when they were young. And imagine if you would have had a video taken of it. Oh, my God. We had Polaroids. That was about as much. I've got a few Polaroids of when we were out drinking. You know, we'd have, we might take a Polaroid camera out. And I've got a few of them photos, but they can't circulate on social media unless I put them out there. But yeah, God, imagine. Oh, so young people have got to be so careful these days. Yeah, because although he is, I think on some of the photos that we've seen of this guy, he's a little bit older on this one. Maybe some of the photos were more when he was 18, 19. And, you know, he's a big guy. So, you know, he's a big, strong guy. He's a sports person, you know. And although Samantha was strong, of course, wasn't she herself? but he would have been able to overpower, and he may have had a weapon, you see. We don't know. They haven't mentioned a weapon, but we don't know if there was a weapon involved. And how did he murder Samantha? Did he shoot her? Did he, did he overpower her with his own hands, or did he have like a knife? We just don't know all these things. You know, he's completely gone, isn't he? I mean, you can see that. But as I say, remember, this was in January. This wasn't the night before. But we can yeah, you know, he's drunk. I mean, he's a young lad. He's gone out with his mates. They go out. They don't know when to stop. You know, that's the difference, I think, for me now, probably for most people as they get older. Even though, you know, you can still enjoy alcohol, but you learn how to enjoy it without it taking over you, you know, like you learn to enjoy it. I mean, to me, once I start to feel drunk, I don't like that feeling now, you know. So it's like if I feel like, and I'm normally, I will have a drink with a meal, you know, not just going out to get drunk. Like when you're young, you go out for a drink, don't you? You go out to get drunk or to get high or to whatever. That's, you're not going out to have a meal and sit down and have a nice civilized glass of wine. You're going out to get drunk, and that's what young people do. So yeah, this is not the night before, but it's thought that this will have been the similar thing because it was a Saturday night, of course. So it's thought that this would have been a similar thing. I mean, it's very sad, isn't it, really, when you think about it, because young people should be able to go out and enjoy themselves. You have to make the most of it, you know, when you're young, because you don't realise at the time, but you're not going to be young forever. So, you know, before you get responsibilities, you know, before you have to hold down a job because you've got to feed your children or whatever, you know, so this sort of time in between when you're a teenager, you get, you know, you feel a bit better after maybe the angst of being a teenager. And I think drink and drugs helps with that, doesn't it? Because a lot of people get through their teenage years by taking alcohol or drugs. You know, like with me, alcohol gave me confidence that I didn't have before. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people. So then you go through this time where it's like, you know, you're out, you're meeting, you know, people, men and women, you know, you sort of partying where you've got to have a lot of friends, don't you? That's when you have your most friends, really, when you're young, and that's what you've got in common, that you all like going out and having a good time. So it's quite sad, really, to think that for that reason as well, that night out, the night before whatever happened to Samantha happened, he was out partying like not without a care in the world like he is here. And now his family have got to cope with the fact that their son has been charged with murder. I cannot imagine how that feels. Okay, so there he is. So there he was in January, enjoying a night out. Well, he won't be enjoying a night out for a long time now, will he? Bless him. So there you go. He's got more of a chance of eventually enjoying a night out again in the future if he tells where Samantha is. He's got to stop it. He's got to stop withholding that information. That's crucial as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to show you. Now, I want to just tell you about this link, supposed link that's been found between them. But I'm not sure about this link. Somebody was saying there in the comments they thought maybe it was significant, and maybe it is. But let's see. Let's just have a look at what the link is first. So yeah, I think he looks a bit younger on this picture. Maybe this was a couple of years ago. But I thought this was quite an interesting article because, well, apart from the link, it's got some interesting photos on it. So a link has been established between the missing mother, Samantha Murphy, and her accused killer, Patrick Oren Stephenson. So initially, the police had said that there's no connection between him and the family or between him and Sam. Maybe they've bumped into each other, you would think. I don't know. They always call it the Ballarat community, and you get this impression that it's a small place, but apparently it isn't. It's a huge place. It's very, so there may be that they've just never met each other. It's not like, a tiny little community as it sometimes is made to sound, I think, on the media. But apparently it's got a small town feel. It's not a small town, but it's got a small town feel. Let's have a look at the video.
Detectives from the Missing Persons Squad arrested a 22-year-old Scotsburn man. As a result of those investigations, he has today been charged with the murder of Samantha. We're saying this was a deliberate attack on Samantha.
I just want to say hi to Misty and hi to Annie, I think, who's just come in. Yeah, so she worked in the uniform shop of the school that he was at as a volunteer. So her accused murderer attended the school as a child while she worked there, but he was only a child. I don't know, is that... They still may never have met. Just because she worked in the uniform shop of his school does not mean necessarily that they met, does it? So this guy is an electrician, so that's another quite scary thing. So presumably, if he's an electrician, he's been in people's houses, he's been in the local community's houses doing jobs, and that may have been on his own, in houses alone with women, with housewives, or while their husbands were at work, or women who live alone, older women. That's quite scary to think if you were there now and you'd had him round to do a job at your house, if he was that kind of electrician, and not working for a company or whatever. I'm not sure. Can you imagine if you'd had him in your house, fixing some of your electrics and stuff, and you'd been on your own with him? That would be a very scary feeling.
It's trying to be brave for everybody. It's something you wouldn't want anyone to experience.
I think even the notification of the arrest for many...
This guy is the mayor, isn't he? We've watched him talk before. He likes his flowered shirts, this guy. Anyway, he's had quite a lot to say.
Members across our community that began talking and thinking, yes, there is that breakthrough, all with the I guess, motivation that will this bring some closure for the family?
Sometimes it's a good job you can't see into the future. When I see that photo of her now, I know that she was just about to go out on her run. No idea of what was waiting for her. And it's like, just if she would have not felt well that morning, not felt like going for a run, or, if she would have gone half an hour later or half an hour earlier, You know, would it have made a difference? But of course, you know, these things, you can puzzle about them, but it won't change anything. But it's quite eerie, isn't it, to see her there just sort of out picking up a dog's mess and ready to go on a run and not knowing that there's a monster waiting for her there in the woods.
In the interview with the suspect, he has not disclosed to police where Samantha's body is.
People just don't vanish into thin air. Someone's got to know something, you know, whether it be any little thing that you might think's relevant, just call the police.
Okay, so what was I doing? Yeah. So let's just go carry on reading the article. So the mother of 3 worked in the uniform shop of St. Francis Xavier Primary School as a volunteer. So I'll take it he's a Catholic then. I'll take it they're Catholic.
The yeas are
Would that
75,
be a
the nays are
Catholic
22. The
school?
motion is agreed to.
Thank you, Madam President.
And her accused murderer, Patrick Aaron Stephenson, attended the school as a child, while Miss Murphy also worked there. Police had previously stated that Ms. Murphy and Mr. Stephenson had never met, despite living nearby. Well, I don't see that proves that they've met, just that because she worked there. What would he go in the uniform shop for? Maybe his parents went in the uniform shop, but I mean, as a child, he's not likely to go in the uniform shop, is he? But anyway, we don't know. So we just know that she did work there as a volunteer. So there's an outside possibility. Now, he apparently is a similar age to Ms. Murphy's oldest child, Jess, who we saw when she... Poor Jess. I mean, she was upset then, wasn't she? And that was in the early days when we watched that press conference. God knows how she feels now. And she'll just want to, that family just need that to get Sam home one way or another. He was arrested at a home in Scotsburn on Wednesday, 16 kilometres from Ballarat, where Miss Murphy lived. It is believed that Mr. Stephenson was house-sitting the property with his girlfriend. So I don't know if that means was it his own property? Was it his parents' property? Anyway, the police swarmed the area at 6:30 a.m. Can you imagine that for his girlfriend as well? You know, because he must have been sort of half expecting the police to come any minute. He maybe thought he'd covered his tracks. But, that kind of carrying that kind of knowledge around with you, that you've killed someone, you've hidden the body, the police could turn up at any minute. That's not easy to live with for anyone. So I don't expect it was easy living with that. I expect it gets easier as time goes on and you start thinking you've got away with it. But how his girlfriend felt, I cannot imagine. And they've seized the Ute. That's the type of car, isn't it, belonging to him? This is the car, I think. This is the car that's been seized. So you can see it's a big car. It'd be easy to put a body in this car. If that's what happened. There's room, isn't there? It's not like trying to squeeze a body into a Ford Fiesta or whatever. There's room in that car to put a body. He's been charged with murder, as we know. He's an electrician. He's the son of former Geelong and Richmond player Aaron Stephenson. And police described his actions as a deliberate attack. So we've got to remember that that's what there's a reason why the police feel that. So her disappearance shocked the community and quickly became one of the most... Sorry, that's the dog barking. Stop barking, please. High-profile missing persons investigations in Victoria capturing international attention, and they're still looking for her body. So they're still urging the public to come forward with even the slightest bit of information. The police priority now will be finding Samantha, won't it? Just will be finding her. Come on, you twonk, you've got to say where she is. Come on. He does look a bit twonky there, doesn't he? And I've got some things that I'm going to read out to you that it seems like he may have, it always turns out. Right, stop. Bad girl. It seems like quite often these people, although he looks very clean cut and like your typical sort of, all Australian boy, if you like, seems like he did have a dark side, which I suppose is to be expected, and we're going to look at that later. Okay, so a criminologist, Xanthi Mallet, said people who commit crimes of this nature generally commit them in areas where they feel comfortable, which is true, isn't it? So it was, I think it was thought right from the beginning, wasn't it, that somebody local would have been involved in this because they'd know the area. It's their comfort zone. And she's saying that police will be taking all of that into consideration. They have to feel confident and comfortable to commit a criminal act. There's Samantha again. So now, Commissioner Patton said that painstaking detective work over the past month has led them to lay these murder charges. He said he's been located for a range of investigative outcomes that have come together. And as you're aware, we've been pinging phones and following up on investigation reports from members of the public. I do think that boy must have been like, living on a knife edge, really wondering about his phone, and he was probably panicking about a lot of things. And he went on to say, we've done ground searches, we've done door knocks. It's a whole range of information that's come together, and it's resulted from painstaking detective work with greater assistance from the public. It's so nice how they praise the public, isn't it? It's so different from what we saw in the Nicola Bulley case. The public were all a load of crap, like, interfering with their investigation, etc. We haven't had this at all here. They've praised the public. And the Ballarat community came together for a vigil in Eureka Gardens on Friday night to honour Miss Murphy's life. And Mick spoke outside his Ballarat home saying, the adrenaline with everything that's been going on, it's just trying to be brave for everyone. And it's a relief to see charges laid. And he said it's something you won't want anybody to experience, and that the family was doing the best they can under the circumstances. So we watched that interview with Mick. We will see a little bit of it again in some of the articles that we're going to look at now. So, right, let me put some windows down now, things we don't need. So I want to show you this news clip from, we've seen the video. I just showed the video of him partying, of Patrick partying in January, which is what they think exactly he was doing the night before this murder. And we're going to watch a news channel talking about it now. Okay, so this is Channel 9 News.
A new claim surrounding the man charged with murdering Ballarat woman Samantha Murphy. Video of Patrick Stephenson has emerged amid claims he was out partying the night before the mother of three vanished. Mimi Becker has the details.
Samantha Murphy's accused killer, 22.
Now, I've noticed they've blocked out his face on this. I'm not really sure why that is, but anyway, I've shown you the video with his face, but I'm not sure why they've had to, because of course he can be named now.
2-year-old Patrick Stephenson, seen here snorting a white substance in January. His friends say the night before the alleged murder, he was partying at a number of bars across Ballarat. It's understood investigators have now seized CCTV. Last night, a moment of silence for the mother still lost. Members of the community stood shoulder to shoulder to shine a light in memory of Sam.
She was our neighbour, and
So this was the vigil that they held for Samantha, which somebody was saying earlier that Mick didn't go to, but I believe Jess was at it. I think it might, I think if that was me, to be honest, I don't know if I would have been able to go to it. So, because just having to talk to people and that I would have found impossible, but...
in memory of Sam.
She was our neighbour, and it's important to come down here and pay our respects to the family. It's awful.
Her family there, as hundreds signed a condolence book to the 51-year-old who was last seen on February 4 when she left her home for a run but never returned.
Now, this, like about the condolence book, I know that these kind of things, they don't bring your loved one back, but is a comfort later on these things. Or you know, I remember when my dad died, and all the people that went to his funeral, it was just, I couldn't believe, because my dad was a very shy man who hardly went out of the house, really. You know, for a man that like kept himself to himself a lot of the time, but when he did go out, like to the shops or whatever, and he would always chat to everyone on the way there. And my dad was, you know, just people liked him. He would try and help people, you know, where he could. He kept himself to himself. He wasn't an extrovert in that sense, but if he could help someone, he would. And, you know, I just remember turning up at the crematorium, and there was the queue of people to go into his funeral, which, yeah, it didn't help, you know, obviously in the sense of it's not going to bring my dad back. But later, it's always been a comfort that even the window cleaner was crying when he heard about that, you know, because he was such a gentleman, you know, the insurance man, you know, all these people that he sort of made an impression on the world in a quiet way. You know, he didn't go out and do like, you know, he was just a man for his family, work, family, garden. That was it for my dad. That was, you know, he didn't go out with mates. He wasn't a man's man in that sense. He didn't drink. He didn't, you know, he was just a quiet man. But it was so comforting later, you know, I've always thought about, thank God, all those people that turned up to go to his funeral. So although the condolence book, yeah, does not help to bring Samantha back, that is something that they will keep. And, you know, knowing that all those people's thoughts were with them, it's a beautiful thing, that I think, that people turned up at the vigil, etc., and signed the condolence book. Just that, you know, because thoughts, knowing that people's thoughts are with you, even if they can't help you constructively, just knowing that somebody's thinking about you, saying a little prayer for you, does help. These things do help.
I run with a lot of women, and I know how we as a community are feeling, because it could have been any one of us.
It is just hard to grasp that we live in such a peaceful, safe community. So it's really, I think we're in a lot of shock.
For those here, the time to reflect is.
And it's lovely to see a lot of men there as well. You know, it's not just women, because at the end of the day, it does, you know, violence against women affects men because it affects their wives, their mothers, their children, their daughters, their sisters. You know, this is not just a thing for women. Violence against women and the fact that women should be safe going for a jog is not just a woman's issue. It affects men too. And it was nice to see so many men at this vigil.
Essential to the healing of the Ballarat community, but with so many questions still unanswered, many are hopeful Samantha will be found.
We're not going to stop until she's found. We will continue to search.
Give that family, some final closure, and be able to give her the send-off she truly deserves. She was such a big part of the community.
In Ballarat, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
Yeah. So the vigil, that was the vigil, etc. Right. Well, we're going to look at another news item. Now, let's have a look at this. So I've got a few videos to show you. All the different news. Some might repeat some things and what have you, but we'll watch them just different perspectives sometimes. We may have seen this, but anyway, we'll watch it again.
It's trying to be brave for everybody. It's something you wouldn't want anyone to experience.
I think even the notification of the arrest for many members across our community that began talking and thinking, yes, there is that breakthrough, all with the I guess, motivation at will this bring some closure for the family?
So it's straight, like they're saying that not a single trace of her has been found. So none of her clothes, you know, or the Apple Watch, I presume, or, you know, nothing, not a phone, no, you know, nothing. There's been nothing found. Well, she's got to be somewhere. Well, unless she had been taken, I don't, if she had been taken to where the bushfires were happening or whatever, and if she, you know, surely there'll be some phone pings and maybe some CCTV of his, of that car, that ute. He, you know, he hasn't picked her up and taken her somewhere. He's put her in a car and taken her somewhere. So I'm sure they'll be able to narrow it down eventually. Just takes time, doesn't it, to piece it all together and then look for her. She's got to be somewhere. She's got to be somewhere, or some trace of her has got to be somewhere.
In the interview with the suspect, he has not disclosed to police where Samantha's body is.
People just don't vanish into thin air. Someone's got to know something, you know, whether it be any little thing that you might think's relevant, just call the police.
Okay, let's have a look at the next one now then. Put that one down. So this is the vigil. We'll have a look at the vigil again. A different news program.
We're learning more this morning about Samantha Murphy's alleged killer. The Age reporting Patrick Stephenson was seen in several bars the night before the 51-year-old went missing. Vision emerging of the accused snorting a white substance off a mobile phone. It comes as hundreds gathered at a candlelight vigil overnight to remember the Ballarat mother. United in grief. A community coming together in honour of a Ballarat mum who never came home.
Very emotional. It's good to support the community and support the family.
I'm a runner. I run with a lot of women, and I know how we as a community are feeling, because it could have been any one of us.
Friends and strangers shoulder to shoulder, laying flowers and mourning one of their own.
So many people have just one degree of separation from the families, and it's just really, really sad.
There's a lot of grief in the community right now.
Overwhelming sadness, but still hope Samantha will be found.
Yeah, look, we're not going to stop until she's found. We will continue to search and continue to keep Samantha in the public eye.
Tears as the group stood for a minute's silence. And then as the sun set, hundreds raised their phone torches to the sky.
For the whole last 5 weeks, people, you just keep saying every morning, I wonder if Samantha's been found. Or so it's kind of just nice to come together and talk it out a little bit.
Well, the Ballarat community gathered last night at a vigil to mourn Victorian mum Samantha Murphy a day after the 22-year-old was charged with her alleged murder. Ballarat Mayor Des Hudson was there. He joins us now live on Weekend Today. Des, thanks for your time. Look, this is a horrible story, but
this mayor, he's always got a flowered shirt on, which is quite sweet, isn't it? But I noticed he's moved because when he did, we've seen him on Zoom before, and he had that weird bloody picture in the background with the skull and the dagger. Anyway, he's moved for this one, so we can't see that weird photo and picture.
Last night's vigil, how was it?
Yeah, thanks, Clint. Fair to say that there was a lot of emotion, an outpouring of that emotion at the gathering last night. Hundreds, I couldn't say exact number, but I would say we got close to probably 400 to 500 people that were there. And I spoke to some people in the crowd before the I had an opportunity to say a few words, and from people that didn't know Samantha but were in tears, there were others that had taught Samantha's children, and just community members that have been on the search ground for days upon days upon days, but all with that sense that why did this happen? What happened to Samantha? What was the story in the incident that will no doubt flow through the court process? And then the hope that Samantha can be found and returned to her family for a proper, respectful burial and a celebration of her life. But
yeah, this is crucial. This she's got to be. He's got to say where she is. He's just got to. If he wants any leniency, if he wants any, is he using it as a bartering tool, or is he thinking he's going to get away with it? I don't know, but it's just cruel. This is it's crueler than even killing her, I think. Not saying where she is, it is cruel. And it just extending the torture and misery for her family.
Everybody had enormous empathy for Mick Murphy, Samantha's husband, and then also the children as well.
Des, you mentioned there that so many people were there last night that didn't know or hadn't met Samantha. What is it about this story that's really sort of touched your community? Because so many people have been impacted by it.
Yeah, Clint, not only just touching the Ballarat community, but the larger Victorian community. It's had reach interstate and even reach international. I think it's the fact that Sam was a mum of 3. She set out on a Sunday morning to go for a peaceful jog through one of our regular recreational areas. And she should have been able to do that without any interference and without becoming subject to violence. And I think that's probably the thing that has really galvanised the community, that this was potentially something that was senseless, that didn't need to happen. And that...
Yeah, he is selfish, Sam, you're right. And Quizzical's saying there that in Victoria the law is no body, no parole. So is he just hanging on to that information as long as he can so that there's more decomposition, so there's less forensic tests can be done on it? And will he, because he's not going to court until August now, it's all, it's quite a long, we're in March, so you're looking at 5 months before he comes to trial, or next time in court. I don't even know if that's the trial. So is he hanging on to that information, and eventually he will say where her body is, but he won't say until he's convinced that there'll be nothing left practically, so there can't be a proper post-mortem done on it. Is that what he's doing? And then if that is what he's doing, even if the body is found, because if he suddenly 3 months down the line, just before the trial, decides now he's going to say where she is, then I think that should all be taken into account. I literally think that every day he doesn't say where her body is should be an extra year on his sentence. It is just abominably cruel what he's doing.
Just the sheer randomness that people are saying why. And it has resonated. The photos that we've seen of Samantha all the way through, and even for those that will know Samantha, her connection to the arts community of Ballarat, involvement in the community, and everyone just says the same. What a beautiful human being that she was.
Des, you seem really proud as mayor of your community.
Yeah, I am, Clint. These are the tasks that you don't like doing, but I guess stepping up to be a constant voice. I've been really proud of the way our community has come together, has looked after one another, has had positive thoughts and care for the Murphy family, and just in terms of their willingness as well to help the emergency services day after day, week after week. And even when I was talking to Chloe, one of the co-organisers of the event last night, that was on the search ground earlier in the day looking for a piece of the puzzle that might find where Samantha has, or where her remains are, just in the hope that her body can be found.
And that's important for the family, for Mick and for the kids. Police have said that is the priority right now, finding the body of Samantha. How important is it, not just for her family, but for the people of Ballarat, Victoria?
yeah, it's extremely important. It was really pleasing to hear Shane Patton at his press conference talking about the fact that that still remains their highest priority now, is to find Samantha and return her to her family so as that they can then begin what will never be closure, but at least a funeral.
Well, that's right. It never, closure is an overused word, isn't it? It's just at least a funeral is better than nothing. And that he's saying there that the police have said it is their priority, and that's good. Now, I just want to go. I noticed a lot of people in the chat, they're talking about psychotic episodes. The thing is, young people and young men, and I know this from family experiences, from drug counsellors that have advised my family on problems that they've had with their young males, if you like. Their brains don't form properly until they're 25. You know, so anything that they do before the age of 25, drinking, taking drugs, and the younger they start with those things, the worse it is. It does cause, you know, it's almost like a brain damage, because their brains are not capable of coping with those substances, you know. And this psychologist that I'm quoting, that said to some of my family that does it, and marijuana is the same. It's not only cocaine, heroin. This particular psychologist thought that marijuana was the worst drug of all for young people, especially now this skunk cannabis that people are smoking, because it's full of chemicals, and because their brains are not formed yet, they can't cope with it, and it causes psychosis. And she was saying, like, you know, somebody, especially because some people are more thing is, it's like alcohol, isn't it? Some people can have a drink at the weekend, never drink all week, never causes a problem, hold a job down, hold a relationship down, and other people can't. Other people become alcoholics and they lose everything. Same with gambling, to be honest. That's another, any addiction. Some people are more addictive than others, you know. So some people can smoke a joint here and there, or, you know, snort a bit of cocaine here or there or whatever. Other people just can't. So it affects different people in different ways. And she was saying that if you already had some sort of a gene, if you like, or, you know, the tendency towards depression or a tendency towards mental health issues, then taking substance abuse just brings it out, you know. And she was saying you could go your whole life and not take any substances, and this would not come out. But then even if you started taking them in your 60s or whatever, suddenly all sorts of mental health issues that have been lurking might come out. But it's especially dangerous for young brains, because you know, young brains aren't formed properly yet, and there's all the other things going on, of course, just being a teenager and the hormones and all the crap that goes with being a teenager, etc. So all those things combined, it's perfectly possible that it might be suffering from psychosis, because some people, and say some teenagers even, you know, they'll go through this stage of where they're drinking, taking drugs or whatever, and doing all the daft things that people do when they're young, but they come through it and then they grow out of it almost. Others don't. They carry on all their lives, you know, having a propensity towards these things. And I have seen people with psychosis, and it is terrifying, because they really don't know what they're doing. They don't even remember it afterwards. You know, that's what's really scary. If you mention it to them afterwards, oh, you know, well, what I don't remember that. They don't remember it even. That's how scary it is. So it's quite possible that this boy or this man, whichever way you want to look at it, was suffering from some sort of psychotic episode if he'd been on drugs all night. But we don't, you know, we've got to wait and see what the police, it may not be, might be called calculated twonk, you know, as well, because not everybody who has psychosis does murder people either. So, you know, it's a very complex subject, I think.
Deserves to celebrate her life, but we need to also remember that even then, this does not end for the Murphy family. they will live with this for the rest of their years. Every year there will be moments of celebration at Easter and Christmas and birthdays that Samantha will no longer be a part of, and that will be empty.
Yeah, it's such a sad story. Des Hudson, thanks so much for your leadership, and thanks for your time on Weekend today.
Thanks, Clint.
Yeah, I wonder how it feels in the community now, because it must feel sort of quite odd, because of course they've all been helping, you know, and going out searching and doing all these things, because people like to feel helpful, don't they? They like to do things at times like this, and it keeps them going. Now, of course, they can't even go out searching, really, because the police have admitted they have no idea where she is. You know, absolutely no idea. So where they're going to go out searching? You know, you can't just search those massive those massive areas. Just, you know, just can't do it. So the police have no idea where she is. So there's no, you know, I expect the community sort of feels glad that the boy has been sort of charged. At least someone has been charged. But it must be a really weird sort of flat feeling, because of course, you know, the next step is for Samantha to be brought home, but they can't do anything constructive now, and communities like to help and do constructive things. So that'd be quite a strange day they'll be waking up to tomorrow, I think. But okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you, somebody sent me, and thank you very much to everyone who sent me any links or, you know, things that they feel that are interesting. So this is a link to, I don't think I'm going to put it up on the actual, you know, oh, hang on, I've got I'm on VPN. I've got to come off VPN before I can do this. Let me see. Yeah, on Reddit, on the local Reddit. Now, I don't use Reddit very much, but on Reddit, they have a lot of information, which is always useful. God, I bet I'm not going to be able to get on it. Maybe I'm not going to be able to get on it because I'm on VPN and I don't know how to get off my VPN without cutting everything off. Hang on, let's try. Yeah, and it was interesting. So the community, the Ballarat community, the things that they're saying on Reddit. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. Ah, hang on, I might be able to. Yes, I think I can. Reddit, when I'm on the VPN, it won't let me go on. So I've turned off the VPN. Yeah. So I was sent this, like threads, you know, to the Reddit, the local Reddit community. And it's interesting. I say I'm not going to put the actual, I'm not going to show it because people probably don't want to be, you know, shown on a YouTube channel. Though it is a public, I mean, Reddit is public. You shouldn't go on Reddit if you don't want your comment to be public. But I did see there was some information on there. Let me see if I can find it. There was some information on there. I don't know if it's true or not, that he was involved in some white supremacy group. Now, again, as I say, who knows? Who knows? Let's see if I can find it again, because it was on one of these links, and there were even some pictures of what somebody said was him, but of course it was almost like a Ku Klux Klan type image, you know, everybody had masks on or hoods on. So everyone had hoods on, so you couldn't see his face. So people were saying that one of these people was him. But how do we know if it was him? If he's got a hood over him, it could be anyone, really. But I just wanted to tell you about it. I'm seeing if I can find it. Yeah, so his solicitor is saying he's got no drug or mental health issues. But we could see from that video that we saw earlier, he does obviously have some drug issues. You know, at least he's taken them at some point and he likes alcohol or whatever. But his solicitor said no mental health issues, no drug or mental health issues. The police have said it's not a hit and run. So, yes, like someone has said here, you know, was this guy just hiding in the forest early on a Sunday morning waiting to kill someone at random? Maybe he was. Maybe he'd been thinking about doing it for ages. Maybe he was Sissy's attacker. No, sometimes people do just sit there and wait for victims, I suppose. I wonder if I can find this photo again. I might have to look for it. And so what I'll have to do is take it off here. And you know, so that I can show it without showing sort of anyone's private, well, they're not private, but anyone's messages and names, etc. Yeah, can't find it now, of course. There's somebody here saying that there was no friends or family in court. He appeared in court twice. The first time he appeared in court was for the murder charges, wasn't it? And then the second time to be told that, second time he appeared in court was to be told that his name was going to be released. And people are saying that there were no friends or family in court to support him, which is strange, perhaps. I don't know. God knows what his family are thinking of it all. Yeah, I can't find these pictures just now, and I should have downloaded them before, but I will for the next video because I'm sure there'll be there'll be more updates. I'm hoping that the next update will be Samantha being found, isn't it? That's the most important thing now. Is that Samantha should be found. Yeah, so there's a lot of them talking that they think he was on a cocaine bender. But anyway, so this is an interesting thing. I'm going to look more into this. That apparently he was associated with a white supremacy group. So I need to check up on that. I need to find the evidence, which, as I say, was evidence in a way, but as everybody had hoods on, I don't know how it can be certain that one of those people was him, because you couldn't see the face, you know. So how would you know that it was him? I mean, you could really take a photo of any white supremacy group with hoods on and put an arrow to it and say, oh, this is Patrick. So I need to look into that more, and I'll do that for in time for the next update that I give you. But anyway, that's where we are so far. You know, he's probably got, if he is guilty, which we have to remember, he may not be guilty, but he can't be that clean-cut Australian guy that he looks like, you know, on his pictures. He just can't be. There's got to be some, you know, there's got to be some dark side to him that will come out, because, you know, I know every killer has to do it first, you know, has to do their first one. But even killers, when they commit their first killings, if you like, there's normally some sort of background or some sort of lead up to it, you know, unless it literally was just a case of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he just, because he was, you know, having a psychosis, lost it. But somebody somewhere knows about his dark side. You know, there'll be a dark side to him. And like you say, David, about Ted Bundy, he was a guy, you know, he was working on a rape helpline. You know, he was like, oh God, he was like your best citizen. You know, he was involved in politics and doing, you know, handsome, had a girlfriend, had a normal sort of family life. Came from a normal family to all intents and purposes. You know, he insisted that it was nothing to do with his upbringing. But Ted Bundy gave a lot of insights into serial killers and how people's minds think. You know, I think it's a compulsion in people. They're just born with. I honestly think that. I don't think it matters. I'm sure backgrounds can make things worse, but you know, so many people that just have like a privileged upbringing, like this guy seems to have done, still go out and do terrible things. And then lots of people who have the most worst upbringing you can imagine, who get dragged up through the care system, get abused, they don't go on and do these sort of things. So although I'm sure there's some telling factors, I think basically there is something in people. There's something, you know, wrong, you know, and I think drink and drugs, environment, etc., can make it worse, but I don't think they can make someone kill someone. You know, I don't believe that anyway. That's my opinion. You know, they always talk about nature versus nurture. I think it's a bit of both, but I think the most important thing is nature. I think it's how, or sometimes people have bad head injuries, don't they? They reckon that can cause problems when someone has a severe head injury when they're young, that can cause problems. But hi, Simara. I'm afraid I'm going to finish soon. Hi, Mel. Yeah. Well, there we are. So, of course, it was coming up to night time now, or it is night time, is it, in Australia now? So maybe won't be any news, but we'll see tonight. So I'll be back tonight. Tonight, if you're in the UK or Spain, and I'll be back in the morning if you're in Australia or any of the Northern Hemisphere. So, oh, Simara, but you'll be able to catch up. You'll be able to watch it. It's not a problem, is it? So, as always, thank you. I think I forgot at the beginning to say thank you. I put my little ticker on for it because I did forget. I do quite often forget. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing. So don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, or leave your fingerprint on the like button, please. That really helps me out. That's a free way you can help me out. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed already. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. That's another way you can help me out for free, absolutely gratis. And remember to press your notifications to make sure you get notifications of new videos. And yeah, special thank you to all my members. Members' lives are on every Thursday evening. Thank you for those of you who are already members. And the members' lives are the best night, aren't they? Because we talk about all sorts of things, not only true crime, lots of different things. And also thank you to anyone who sent me a super, anyone who's bought me a Ko-fi. Thank you so much, because all that helps to support my channel. And if you enjoy my content, it helps, you know, and just your support means everything, because when sometimes I get a bit, true crime can be a bit depressing, or if I get trolled, which I don't very often, but I do occasionally, it's always your support one way or another, be it subscribing, liking, emailing, in the chat, watching from home, in whatever way you support my channel. Thank you so much. So remember to live and love wisely, carefully. I'll see you as always later in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Thank you so much. Bye.